Hello everybody and welcome to the Face Reading Secrets of the People in the News, session number 29. Today we're talking about the most wanted man by the United States government for sure, by some other governments, and by some powerful individuals with connections. And when someone goes against a powerful one, that someone must know that he or she is never safe. And this is not a vicious murderer, serial killer, terrorist, or a bank robber. In fact, with his skills, he could probably get into some people's bank accounts and rob them, or even whole banks. But that's not what he chooses to do with his life. Sometime at the end of the last century, this man took upon himself to be some kind of a cyber fighter for honesty. He was to fight, and it's my personal understanding of his intentions, hypocrisy. Hypocrisy of some governments and some individuals with global influence by exposing the truth about what they proclaim publicly and what they do in reality. In 2006, Julian Assange founded WikiLeaks, an international non-profit journalistic organization that publishes secret information. Some call WikiLeaks a whistleblowing organization, and some call it a gang of criminals. Several books were written and several movies made about Julian Assange, his life and his work. Whether he is a villain or a hero, it is up to you to decide. My work as a face reader is to only give you an idea of what his outer characteristics, his face, profile, features, tell us about his inner qualities. To those of you who are watching my YouTube for the first time and want to know more about face reading, you can watch my YouTube face reading introduction or get my book Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships on Amazon.com. So, Julian Paul Assange, ladies and gentlemen, he is now 45 years old, still alive, a resident of the Embassy of Ecuador in London, where he is given a political asylum. When I decided to do a reading on his face, I looked at many of his photographs, particularly the ones where he is young. I was amazed at how childish and pure he looked. Here he is in his 20s. Well, let's look at his face, young and more mature, and see what we can learn. It looks like from a young age he has always been, yes, a Saturn. We know that as a Saturn he is always organized and meticulous, knows what he has done so far and what is left to accomplish. He knows how to persevere even when the going gets tough. He is a positive pessimist, sees the downside of everything, but gets excited about overcoming the obstacles. He is cynical. He likes to work on specific details, takes one point and goes deeply with it. But let's look at Julian's face again. When I looked at his face for the first time, I felt that there was something else there beyond the Saturn. Here on this picture, can you see what I see? Yes, here he is a Saturn, but there is a roundness in the middle of the face, a circle. We call it the Moon, Moon over Saturn. And that adds a few interesting characteristics. Moon can be idealistic, a dreamer, usually indecisive, which we know is not the case of Julian. But that contradiction will be clarified when we look at his temperament. The main thing here to remember is idealistic. Excuse me. Think of the intentions of Assange. And now let's look at some of his features. Look at his huge ears. They're exactly the size of his high forehead, red arrows. And as we know, large ears also, far from the skull, mean that he is very independent. And look at the blue arrows. And on this picture and all other pictures, you can see that his eyes are squinting, meaning that he is highly suspicious. and look at the arrows on the left side. See the space between where the hairline begins and the bridge of the nose? That is the intellectual zone we call. The space between the bridge of the nose and right under the nose is the social emotional zone, and the space between under the nose and the chin is called physical material zone. So his social emotional zone is disproportionately short compared to other zones. So he does not take things to heart too much. That's what it means. Now we'll pull it all together soon, but first look at Julian's temperament, his energy, and his innate characteristics. It looks like quite clear here, a straight line from the forehead to the chin. We have two bilious qualities, and that tells us that his intellect and will are bilious. By nature, that is, from birth, Julian is willful, organized, methodical, oppositional, ready to put up a fight for his ideals, able to withstand long-term pressure and persevere. Look at the powerful, what we call typical Roman nose, revealing strength and determination. Also, since we are looking at the profile, let's look more a little bit at his features. See the two green arrows? Remember the big space between tragus and antitragus? That means he needs and likes to express himself. He likes to talk. Another interesting feature, look at the picture on the left now. The pink line. His ear lobe is straight across, meaning he's stubborn. But wait, there is something else there. As much as he's bilious intellectually and willfully, look at the blue lines. His forehead, though bilious, which means you can see it, it's kind of roundish, also looks slightly tilted back. And the corner of the jaw starts from the very top, which looks like it starts from the ear, all the way from the ear. And these two characteristics, of course, are characteristics of the nervous temperament. The nervous corner of the jaw tells us that his energy level is not long-term like his bilious intellect. Physically, he does not have the same strength. And under pressure, his body may give way. But mentally, he is much sharper than all other three temperaments. His mind works very quickly and he is very creative. He also likes attention, appreciation, and acknowledgement. So let's now summarize. Julian Paul Assange, a man that so many people or organizations want dead. He is willful, methodical, oppositional, and ready to challenge any authority. Once on the path, he does not stop, but keeps going and going. But he is not the energizer bunny. The physical energy is not that great, but it is compensated by the stubbornness of character and the will to overcome. He is very independent, creative, and fast-thinking. He does not trust people easily. And though idealistic and perhaps dreamy, he is able to detach from his feelings, such as fear or compassion, and keep doing what he believes is right. All that, or all those qualities, make him a formidable adversary. Those who want him dead fear him, and the reason they fear him is because they should. And that is all for Julian Paul Assange. Thanks for being with me today. My best wishes to all.